Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, document and information management is a critical activity for many businesses, and my next guest has a solution for businesses that will help them with this function. Nik Healy from Convergent joins us now to tell us more. Nik, your career has taken you from Ireland to Canada, so talk to us about your experience on the other side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, well, that was early on in my career when I wanted to broaden the horizons a little bit and see a bit of the world. But it was quite interesting. I worked for a consultancy company who had an Irish and Canadian office. And I was over there working on projects as a business analyst early in my career for about a year and a half. And then to continue that work on their offices over here in Dublin as well. So that gave us it gave me a good basis to build our own business on, which we are information and information consultancy. So it was kind of, I suppose, the foundation of building what we've done here over the last 15 years.
So when you co-founded Convergent, what problem were you trying to solve?
Well, previously to that, we had a business which was a managed print services business that we operated all over the country. And we just kind of felt, deep down that it wasn't the future, that everything was beginning to go digital, and we needed to get on that bandwagon as such, and we wanted to evolve our business and offer something else to our clients. So that's when we started looking initially into document management systems for customers, and that evolved then into general information management, which is not just document management, but what we would call non-document objects such as data objects and so forth that every organization have. That was equally as important, we found, as to just managing a document or having filing systems or scanning systems. So it's evolved into being able to allow your information to work for you. The information held within your document is able to actually is actionable, is reportable, is recordable, and it all of a sudden is working for the organization rather than something that's trapped to what we call dark data in a filing cabinet as it used to be.
So what services are you now providing?
We would work primarily with SME size organizations, typically who are in a growth phase or heading into a growth phase, that just need to have help about operating, organizing their information and the information that's generated with them. We typically work around looking at their reducing the number of systems that they have, because we find that these organizations have a huge range of systems that are disconnected, cloud-based systems, on-prem systems that are, creating what we kind of call content chaos, because their information is sprawled all over the organization. Nothing is connected, and there are huge inefficiencies that come out of that. And what we try and do is take a strategic view to that, to say, okay, how do we get that all under control for you? How do we enable you to have a kind of a single source of truth to access your information through? And by doing that, we're reducing the number of systems that they've got, replacing functionality that they actually need, not the list of functionality on the various pieces of software that they may have bought before and are constantly having to pay for. So it's quite bespoke what they need. Then we work on their process, because once you can trust your information, you know that it's correct, it's the most relevant, up-to-date information that you've got, then you're able to allow that information to drive your internal processes. So we look at bringing a lot of automation into place. Any solutions that we put in place or that we work on with customers, we build compliance and compliant regulations into all their processes.
And do you find that there's also lots of companies that license software off a shelf without any customization, and as a result end up with a product that doesn't meet their needs?
All the time. A lot of these softwares are very attractive and very appealing, and they can. But the problem with that is that you tend to be buying systems or applications that are they generally have a a silver, gold and platinum package to go for with different functions in there. And organizations go for these, and they tend to work for kind of maybe about 60 or 70% of what they're trying to achieve on a particular function within the software. Whereas they're actually paying for the whole suite of software that on a monthly basis. So it's a total waste of money a lot of the time. And then, recently we were at a conference in Madrid on information management, and we spoke to not a customer, but an organization from Finland. They were a public body over in Finland, and they did an audit, and it's been the first time in about 5 years they've done it. And they figured out that they had over 900 applications being used in the organization. Now, it's a big organization to start with, but 900 systems, so you can just imagine the cost of that and the lack of security, the lack of control around that goes with that also.
So, Nick, once yourself and your team and Convergent start engaging with a potential client, what process do you bring them through?
When we engage, we like to establish pretty early on how they deliver what they do, right? So from start to finish is in that kind of lead to cash process. How do they, starting with marketing, sales, and then through their operations and right through to their financial function at the end in order to be able to invoice that service or product that they're delivering. So it's really a kind of a root and branch approach that we would like that we tend to take. Not all organizations obviously need that, and when they don't, that's obviously that becomes obvious. So we focus on where the problems are. Then from that, doing those reviews where there's ownership of everybody involved. We all know what's required. That's when we can then start to put options on the table based on what their requirements are. So that they have all the necessary tools in order to configure that solution for their particular business. We have the beauty about it is that when you've got the right toolbox, I suppose is a good way to look at it. Think about it: if you're building, a box of Lego, if you've got the right bricks and the right parts in place to build anything that you want, then it opens up so many opportunities for you. So it's a very flexible, kind of a long-term approach to adapting to what's coming down the tracks and being able to react to that and constantly evolve the organization.
When Convergent is making recommendations around tech and tools and platforms to clients, what role is AI currently playing in that?
Unfortunately, at the moment, when a lot of organizations are nowhere near being able to utilize the power that AI can provide. And we see that particularly when your information is sprawled across the organization. AI cannot operate in those kind of environments. AI needs some context. You need to have security and control over your information with AI, and you need to allow AI to curate the right information in order to give you some meaningful and useful feedback or generate some useful information for you. So a lot of the organizations, when we meet them first, they're nowhere near there. That's even a step, a phase 3 or 4, where they work first on organizing and controlling and securing their information correctly, so that they can then apply the power of AI further on down the track. Unless you've got that structure in place already, so many organizations are spending millions trying to basically figure out what they can use it for, but it's of no use when you have no structure or context around the information that you do. AI at the moment, is at best going to act like an assistant for you. And if you take on a human assistant, you ask them to do some research for you, or you ask them to do some work for you, they have to know what is the correct information and the correct context, and where to curate the right information in order to deliver that for you. If those aren't in place, then that organization is not ready for AI yet.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Nik Healy from Convergent. And I wish Nick every success with the business.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.